call the meeting to order. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It was a shake. Do I hear a motion to adopt tonight's agenda?
Motion to adopt tonight's agenda, February 12th.
Any comments or questions by the board? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Approval of minutes, 1/22/24. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
Second.
Any comments or questions by the board? All in favor? Crickets. Okay, Mark? Yeah. Any opposed? Motion carried. Road report? Darrell?
Joe had a prior obligation, so he wasn't able to make the meeting. A couple of things I know that have been going on, obviously, is plowing and sanding, etc., as needed. Today they were going around checking for potholes and they're trying to address some of that issues. They're looking at a project, culvert project in Route 140 that we're going to apply for a structures grant from the state of Vermont. So a large project. And I think Joel shared some meetings ago, prioritization. He wants to start looking at Upper Road, some bank stabilization on Upper Road. That's really becoming a concern. Other than that, that's all I have for the road report.
Okay.
It's mud season on Hampshire Hollow.
Yeah, that'll be that's only the second one season. We got 3 more to go.
Yeah. Could be by now.
Community development?
Yeah, so the past few weeks I've spent doing a lot of liaising to other organizations. Friday I was at the hub in Rutland for the Vermont Housing VHFA, sorry, can't remember the acronyms right now, Vermont Housing Foundation Authority, for upcoming housing funding. It was a very in-depth meeting with a lot. It was kind of the first meeting to introduce area developers. There were community leaders, area developers, and banks at this meeting. So they're trying to bring together different organizations to promote housing redevelopment, and that's just one piece of the puzzle. So I've been doing some of that. I went to the legislative mixer this morning in Rutland, so all the legislators were there. Got a sneak peek at some of the priorities for the legislative session, and trying to get an understanding of some of the funding that may be available or not available. It sounds like there's a bit of belt tightening going on, so that's to be expected this session. This coming Friday, I will be going to Montpelier for Outdoor Recreation Advocacy Day. I had actually thought about going to this for several years, but this is the first year that I've been able to. So Jackie Dagger invited me to participate on a panel about Borac and how Borac has helped Poultney make its transition away from becoming a college town and more towards outdoor recreation economy. So I'll be up there on Friday morning. I've also spent quite a bit of time the past few weeks supporting and working with the Chamber and PDRC. I think the select board probably is aware that the Chamber is very close to not being able to operate any longer. This Thursday, there's a mixer hosted at Analog Cycles from 5 to 7. PDRC is supporting that as well. And the idea being that Chamber will hold its regular meeting, hoping to identify new board members. And if not, the following day is the Chamber's deadline to identify board members for their insurances and for according to their bylaws. So, we've been transitioning Maple Fest from the chamber to PDRC. Nick is taking the lead on that and has a lot of support from various volunteers in the community. So that's the status of that. And I guess the big news is the website. So we have we had several estimates for a new website, for a town website, that we reviewed. Paul and I looked at them with a little help from Jamie Lee, who's helped with website for many years, the town's website for many years. And we selected a vendor and signed a contract today. So we are starting work on building a new website tomorrow.
Yay.
Yes, it's good news. We have about 3 months to build the new website and transition all of the information that's on the existing website to a new website. Not all of it, right. So that's the gist of the work that I've been doing the past few weeks. Happy to take any questions.
I'm curious on the Vermont housing funding. What are they thinking about? Are they thinking like developmental housing? They think of low income housing? What are they thinking for housing in the area?
It's all types of housing. There's this particular housing was related to affordable housing units, and building new housing. There was certain criteria about affordability and who could live there and that type of thing for this specific funding source. But this is such a huge topic right now. It's coming from all sorts of different directions about data that the RPC is developing, a whole bunch of data sets to help people identify buildable lots, to help people have resources and access to tools that can help them in incremental development. So, folks that are not like the big developers, but more small scale, that may want to buy and start their first project. They're trying to pull together a lot of those resources, which hasn't really existed before. So it's all hands on deck, I guess, with this. And there is the RPC has a new report too that I haven't had a chance to read through. It's a very deep document that I think I got it like last Thursday, so I haven't had a chance to look at it, but it's all types of housing.
So would it be like an apartment house someone wants to refurbish? It used to be a college, whatever, they want to refurbish it for housing? Something like that too?
Yeah, and the funding that's available isn't quite laid out yet in terms of how to access it. I have locally been reaching out to property owners that have vacant properties in Poultney, particularly on Main Street. So I've been doing a lot of that calling the past few weeks too.
Yeah, because there's some houses around that could be really fixed up and help seniors living in there that are on super fixed incomes for that type of housing.
Yeah.
One is down, by the college.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another one, I don't know if anybody's in it, but it's right up by Stewart's there across from the church.
Right, okay, I think I know which one you mean.
Mm-hmm.
Now, speaking of across the street, there's that yellow house that's falling down.
Mm-hmm. That's another one.
Should the town think about that building? Because it's getting bad.
Oh, I don't know.
It's moving.
I think this is a bit of a moving situation with
Right.
what's becoming available in terms of funding, and I don't quite have my arms wrapped around it yet fully.
Early in the process, yeah, very early. I
Yeah,
know the state is tightening up their budgets and they're looking for unused ARPA funds probably to take back from what I'm hearing.
But it's some saying that this building is going to fall down.
Right.
Take the house. Does the town have any interest in helping the owner assess it? Because he's an old guy, from what I understand. And he's out there brick by brick, moving around. The building is falling over.
I'm looking at that building with a different lens.
Right. But
More as a health hazard.
Yeah.
But I really don't want to talk too much about.
It's not our property.
It's not the town's.
No,
It's definitely,
that's probably something you should talk to the owner about. Do it that way.
yeah.
town shouldn't really,
No,
okay. But there are some around that could really, if the property owners want to sell or do something with them.
Yeah,
I know that some of them don't even live in the houses anymore, so.
They were a college town, they were using it when Green Mountain said you can't live off campus. It was like,
no,
that's what happened to a lot of those apartment houses.
took the wind out.
Yeah, it used to be you could, and now said, no, you have to live on campus, and they're like, oh no, so they couldn't rent out the places.
yeah.
But it's early yet,
Yeah.
correct?
It's early. I mean, we've been talking about this for a little while with some of the planning work that we did for recreation economy. And at that point with the RERC project, we had talked about potentially identifying a committee, a housing committee that would help support this conversation. I think once we get through some of this other work that we have ahead of us over the next few weeks, it's something that I would probably revisit.
There was at one point when Jonas was here, down on York Street, there was an old house that was really in a bad shape, real bad shape. And we sold it, the town owned it, tax sale. And we sold it under a contract for $10,000 if he would redo it and then resell it. And it's a really nice family house right now. And it has been sold. There's people living in it. Makes our town look a lot better. I don't know if low housing doesn't do it. I don't know what these people do, but we own the building through tax sale. And
Actually, my understanding with that property was the bank foreclosed on it and it was in such disrepair that they said to the town,
maybe they gifted it to the
I think they
town.
gifted the town
They gifted
the
it to
understanding
the
that the town would sell it.
You're correct with that, yes. And then we sold it to a developer for $10,000. And then under a contract that he would refurbish it and resell it.
Okay.
And that might be a way to go.
Yeah,
But I don't know if that would meet your criteria of low income housing.
Yeah, and I think there's, that's what I'm hoping to work on in the next few weeks is really what's out there. If it's about low income or affordable housing, what other agencies are going to be doing to support this work, because I don't want to repeat work that's already in process and development with other organizations like the Planning Commission or the state even. So once I get a better idea of what's going to be available, I think we should revisit this conversation.
Some of these houses that are in poor shape, it'd be good to get a hold of them. Redo it, just makes the town look a lot aesthetically pleasing.
So I think remember that program was only gonna last for 1 year.
Which one?
The coordination between the finance people and the Rutland Region Planning Commission has a 1 year lifespan to it.
I don't remember hearing that specifically. The one that I went to on Friday with the HFA is just introducing a new program.
New program, so it may not be that.
Yeah, it could be.
All right, anything else, Sarah?
No. That's it.
Anybody have any
Sarah.
questions for Sarah?
I'm excited about the website, so thank you.
Yeah.
US Paul.
Yes, that's good to hear.
Good to hear.
Good to hear. We're getting it going.
Priority list pretty soon.
Thank you. Right, on to the town manager's report.
So the clerk has given me 3 liquor license renewals. One is for the American Legion. It's their first class, third class outside consumption. One for Lake St. Catherine. It's their first class, third class in outside consumption. One for Midway Oil, their second class in tobacco. And the other Midway Oil, their second class tobacco. So if someone wants to,
Make a motion? Your motion for the liquor licenses renewals?
First class is hard liquor, and the second one is
second class is beer and wine, as I understand it. Yeah, and the first class is the spirits.
spirit.
That's where right across the road.
Yeah.
No,
No?
No, first class American Legion,
Oh, okay.
third class American Legion, outside consumption American Legion. Lake St. Catherine, first class, third class, outside consumption, midway oil, second class tobacco, and the other midway oil, second class tobacco.
Second class, okay.
I thought that was going to be opened up as a liquor
Liquor
store.
store.
Well, they're just renewing their licenses right now.
Right,
That's all we're doing.
okay.
Correct.
Do you want a motion for all?
Sure.
Make a motion to approve those liquor licenses.
I'll second.
Any comments or questions by the board? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried.
The next thing I have on there is the block grant, the Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities Grant for the flood study. I'd like to move that to
Executive session.
correct executive session. We received 2 bids and under contracts. I think it'd be appropriate to discuss it under executive session. So the next item I had was the Sheriff's Department, as some of you may know, I think probably all of you know, identified the person who rode their snowmobile on the walking track at the Young at Heart Senior Center. I've met with the individual, and he, at this point, is amenable to making it right. He was very remorseful. And I know some of the folks at the senior center have been trying to get a hold of the folks that put the track in to see what damage repairs costs would be. So basically I've got that gentleman on hold until we figure out, what the cost to repair the damage will be. I received an email from Carrie, the director over there, about ordering signs. I spoke with Joe Roberts about doing that. But I thought I heard you saying you ordered signs.
No.
Okay. Yeah. So the highway department's gonna probably order the signs through their vendor to put up there.
Will the highway department put them up for us as well? I know we have to pay for them, that's fine.
Yeah, they'll put them up for you.
What are the signs?
One is gonna be no motorized vehicles, a couple of them around where the track is, so people know don't drive over here. And then I think one is gonna be parking for users of the senior center, and no overnight parking, I think, is gonna be part of the signage.
That was up there before. That was up there.
But they had to take it down.
Yeah, when they came in to build the track, all the signages were taken down.
The one where it says no motorized vehicles, did it also say like no skateboarding and no bicycles?
That's the proposal that Carrie proposed, yeah.
I might have to just drive across it with my lawnmower to mow the inside of the track. But
You have special permission, Jeff.
I can shut it out and push it over.
So we're gonna work with the highway department to get those signs ordered and put in.
It's good.
And I'll wait to hear further from the board over there. As
If I
far
don't
as,
find out, we have a board meeting Monday, and I'll ask. If I don't hear again, I'm gonna call again and again and again. And if I don't hear anything from the company, I'll look up.
Google that type of
Like
material.
I have that. And I just want permission from the board to go ahead and do that before we do anything. We'll discuss it at our senior center board meeting like Monday morning at 10 on what direction they want to go.
the next note I have on here is some of you folks may be aware that the Rutland County Sheriff's Department has assigned a different deputy, I should say, to Poultney. Greg Ricketts, they've reassigned to two different communities. Met with the deputy a couple times, and think he's gonna work out well.
What's his name?
I knew you were gonna ask me that. I could go look it up. It's
I did meet him last week.
He did.
Yeah.
I've seen him a few times, waved to him, but I haven't had a chance to talk to him.
it's Tyler Duell's his name.
Tyler,
Is he local?
He grew, I think he lives in, I think he told me Granville or Middle Granville.
Just part of their operating procedure that they switch it up every once in a while.
My suspicion, if I'm gonna just talk suspicion, which is probably not a smart thing to do. You may recall that Greg Ricketts left the sheriff's department at one point for a very brief period and went to Killington. And then he wasn't in Killington for very long, and he came back to the sheriff's department with a promotion. And my suspicion is he said, I want to be assigned to a different, different communities closer to where he lives, I think. That's my suspicion, but it has sort of been a pattern that, particularly as deputies get promoted in rank, they often get reassigned to a different area.
So they have new big staff, I guess.
I believe he works part-time in Fairhaven as well with their police department. He's been in here 2 or 3 times since he got assigned. He told me that he walked up Main Street introducing himself to business owners and folks. Yeah, so he seems receptive. There's a couple issues that I was dealing with Deputy Ricketts on and his predecessor, i.e. the barking dogs, that I told Deputy Duell that once he gets settled in, I'm gonna lean on him to help me with those matters, because we did make some headway on a couple of those barking dog complaints. So.
okay. All right.
I've got just a note on here, unspecified zoning violations. There's a couple that I'm working on. I'd rather not, unless the board wants to go in executive session to identify them. And there's some I've sought some assistance with town attorney to work on. Just a note here that the new fire truck has been delivered up at the firehouse. I think they picked it up last week or maybe the end of the week before. And you'll see in the board orders, rather large chunk of money for that. Chief Kerber has inquired. He wasn't able to make tonight's meeting, but he does want to talk to the board about the other truck that this truck is replacing, on whether or not the board wants to sell it or maybe speak to other local fire departments that might need a vehicle. So I'll let him talk to the board when he's available, hopefully next meeting.
He did briefly tell us a little bit about that last time, didn't he?
A little bit,
Yeah.
a little bit. Is it the next meeting that we're gonna try and get together with the village?
Yeah, 26.
I'm going to propose it. I have a meeting with the village this Thursday. So that's going to be the proposal that they attend this select board meeting, either in person or via Zoom, just to sort of get that ball rolling as far as the murder study. But yeah, that's our next meeting is what I'm going to propose to the board, the village board.
That was on the 22nd, I believe. Am I right?
26.
26th?
I think it's 26.
26. Then, I'm gonna miss the town meeting. That's the day of my friend's celebration of life in Carolina. So I won't be able to make that. It's looking like we'll be able to make it at Zoom. Cause I think it's gonna start at 5:30 in the evening that day.
Same time zone.
I was hoping to, well, we'll see what happens.
That found in Tennessee or?
No, it's in the Carolinas.
It's the same time.
Yeah. So,
At the merger meeting, if we do have it, we're gonna talk about getting a committee together, right? More about that.
Well, I mean, the town voters and the village voters voted for both boards to appoint a committee. What that committee looks like, I don't know. There was no
I know,
there's
specific
no
within.
specifics in that.
We don't want them to have 3 people and we have 13 or vice versa. You wanna figure out like, are we each gonna have like how many people are gonna be on the committee?
I would imagine you would want half from the town, half from the village.
Right.
I would imagine that.
That's what I'm saying. So we'll talk about that at the,
I would think that would be we lay the groundworks for the committee in that meeting. What do you think? Just talking, it's a start, we'll start talking about it. Because I also think not only board members, but I think you should have some community members on that also.
oh, definitely. And I think there's a lot of people that were interested in it. So that's what I'm saying.
Just have to be
I'll talk
careful of the number, because once you start getting 14, 16 people,
That's right.
it's hard to get anything accomplished.
Well, I don't think anyone wants that big number like that, but that's what I'm saying.
But I'm
Make sure we're
just,
on the same page, but I guess we'll talk about that, but you
We're talking about that at the meeting.
So Sarah, were we going to pick a manager to do that?
I don't remember a conversation about a manager, but I think what I could do is put together, or I'll pull the scope of work and the work plan that was written in the grant application
Yeah.
to maybe a handout for the village trustees and for the select board to use, so that you know what types of work you will be undertaking more thoroughly through the grant.
I think sorry,
Sorry.
I think what you're referring to, the municipal planning grant, is more intended to hire a consultant. You use the word manager. I think that's what he's referring to. Right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
About the merger, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of the same thing, right?
A consultant tells you how to set up, how to go about it so that we do it the right way.
I mean, I envision that grant funding a consultant that hopefully has had experience helping other communities study mergers. So, again, this is me envisioning the cost benefit analysis. Is it going to save on duplicative resources and employees? Are you going to require more resources and employees? What's your facility going to look like as far as that kind of thing? That's how I envision.
I think feasibility, like
Size of the board.
impossible. Yeah.
All that stuff.
But that's kind of the same scope, right? the merger with the village. So shouldn't that be included in our first meeting? The facilitator?
I mean, I think ideally, yes, you would have the consultant first to say, all right, this is what we've done in other communities that seem to work.
Right, yeah.
You have a committee of, again, I'm just talking like ideally what I think, worst case scenario or best case scenario is someone who's done it could say, I did it one community, they had 20 people, that did not work.
Right.
the two communities that had 5 from each, that was much, just talking.
Right.
Are you wondering if the facilitator will be, or the consultant will be at this meeting?
It seems like he should be hired.
I think at first the town and village boards will have to work together to identify a consultant.
That's what I'm thinking too. This isn't at that step yet.
Okay.
You're gonna need to talk about the next step, first step. It's just
First step is just getting us together and coming up with a plan or direction.
Right.
Do we go after this person? And then if it's Sarah or somebody that gets assigned to finding a consultant for us, that would be step 2. And then we'd be,
I would think you would want, first you would need to get a consensus from both boards. This is how we want to do it.
yeah, that would be step 1.
So.
I don't see how we could have a consultant there when we don't even know what we're gonna be doing yet.
We're gonna be studying. Okay. Do you think it's, the majority says to not hire a consultant yet?
Oh, I don't know.
Just don't know what we're looking for.
We don't know
Shot
yet.
dark right
We're gonna just get us
I
together.
mean,
We're not in charge of it, we're doing it together.
You should all, I mean,
Right,
my
one
meeting with the village board this Thursday, half of them might say, I can't make that meeting. So, you know.
It's only a week away, we need a consultant, say, yeah, can you come over tomorrow? It's a little.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll go step 1, we'll get together first and see what direction we're gonna go.
26.
Okay? Anything else, Paul?
No, not at the moment, no.
Okay, and transact any other lawful select board business?
What about the tax division? You were supposed to do that again.
That would go into executive session.
Yeah, I'd like to go on a executive session for the tax stabilization agreement discussion and
The rail trail,
the brick. Yeah.
the rail trail bridge study.
Yeah.
Rutland Regional Planning Commission, did you guys meet?
So the regional committee meets again next Tuesday. Sorry, the regional commissioners. I'm getting confused with all these committees. There is a regional committee meeting prior to the regional commissioners meeting that I'll be attending as well. So, so next Tuesday, and I think I checked the minutes from the last select board meeting, so I gave you an update on January's meeting for that committee. The Transportation Alternatives Committee did meet since the select board met last, and Ethan, who is the transportation planner, had a really nice presentation. James Sullivan he's a research director from the UVM Transportation Research Center, who partners with VTrans on research projects, gave a presentation on a traffic safety toolbox, speeding countermeasures in Vermont. You saw how excited I am about this? Your eyes are glazing over a little. But this was really wonderful. I mean, it was a really great presentation with a few different solutions to calming traffic in your villages, calming traffic in some of the areas where we've been talking about speeding. So after the presentation, I sent a link to both Joel and Alan Glenn so that they have that resource for any of the work that they're undertaking. And that's kind of
Where you're at?
yeah. If there's any opportunity to apply it in any of the projects that we're working on, I will certainly bring that to the project or to a grant application that might come up in the future.
Okay,
There is monies available.
This isn't
in the
really,
toolbox.
yeah, not in this toolbox. No, this is just mostly informational resources for planning, transportation planning.
okay.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you. Public comments? Anybody have any public comments and concerns?
Questions. Well, do you have contact information for the new deputy?
Yeah, I do. Yep.
Can you share that?
Yep.
I haven't seen them yet. Usually they have their cards.
Yeah, I know Deputy Ricketts before what his promotion is, but he gave out both his email and a telephone number, which was really good.
I know when we had a problem at a senior center once, and I didn't know, I just called the sheriff's office,
Right.
told them where I was and whatnot, and then they put me directly in touch with the person covering Poultney. If you're looking for a way to get a hold of them, if you
That,
take
yeah,
any
that is-
information home and where the heck did I put it? But that's the way, they're very good about putting you right
They are
into,
good. They are
into
good.
touch with those
Yeah.
people.
I just like that, is it Sergeant Ricketts now, maybe? I'm trying to think what he is.
Might be, I saw him in court the other
But
day.
what was good is you can email him. And if, especially if it wasn't something really critical, but
Mhm.
hey, can you provide me with information on such and such? So I think that was a really big help. And it's not something you want to bother the dispatcher with.
Yeah.
So.
They put you
I
right
had a
in.
fact card out there, but I can't find them.
Thank you. And I have one other question, and again, it's for Paul. Do you know when the annual report will be sent out to residents?
I'm supposed to get the report on I think the 14th of this month, so in a couple days.
Okay.
What's this day?
So I'd like to do it by the end of this week, but I can't guarantee you. End of this week or early next week, they'll go out.
Okay, great. Thank you.
What's a class 3 beverage license? You mentioned 1, 2, and 3, and 1 was spirits, so liquor, and then 2 and 3 were mentioned. I was just curious what the distinction was between.
You're asking the wrong person, but I believe the first class is whatever you call it, spirits.
What's up?
Hard
Hard
liquor.
liquor.
Okay.
Yeah, beer, wine, or hard liquor.
I
yeah.
think third class is
Paper bag
no.
One is
I mean, being able to take it
serving,
off,
and
selling
one of them consuming at
Oh, is that what
time,
it is?
and one of them is just selling it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not serving it, so to consume right there. They have the just to serve, to sell it. Whereas the Lake St. Catherine, they're selling it, but to consume it as in both places, down on the truck and upstairs.
And is there any restriction between places serving for consumption and selling for off-premise consumption? Is that?
I think that's a separate license a caterer has to get.
I don't
Jerky
know.
like, it's not even, it's just a question.
I was just serving
Unless somebody
for
else really knows the answer, I don't
I mean,
know.
if you drink a beer and take a 6-pack, like, is there a license for, like?
I think so.
Those two.
Yeah.
I think, I know like Pharmacy Lodge, they need to sell food along with the takeout alcohol beverages. You cannot go in there and say, I want a 6-pack of beer. You need to order food to go along with it. So,
Yeah, I don't know what the rules are for, and probably different towns and different areas have different. I'm not sure.
I'm reminded of another piece of business now that Jonathan's asked a question.
Yeah.
Yes. He submitted a letter of interest for the Development Review Board. I did advertise the vacancy in the Lakes Region Free Press, and it's the only letter of interest I received.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Sure.
It didn't make it into Facebook, I know.
Any other comments, public
Yeah,
comments
did
and
not.
concerns?
It did.
Just
Thanks, Sarah.
FYI, because I know you were involved in pursuing grant with Sarah about getting a generator for the center.
Yeah, we were looking at that.
Right, and I know that may be a long way off where, but Carrie did get a call last week from the state of Vermont. They're putting together a listing of cooling centers for the summer months. And so they asked whether or not we would be one. And if we lost power, we wouldn't. But if we didn't lose power, but someone else needed a cooling center, we could be. So she's gonna bring it up at the board meeting, but since you were
Okay,
just talking,
that's something we'll have to,
yeah,
emergency generator is just something that we go along, I mean, we could be a cooling center, but we can
Right.
talk about that Monday. And if it just failed, we'd have to have a generator.
Maybe they have some energy efficiency.
I was gonna say that could be us. us,
Senior
in
center.
order
A
to-
plus for the
for
grant.
us to get the grant, or for this town
Well,
to get the
the
grant.
federal grant, the timeline has ran out, right, Sarah?
That specific grant, yes, but Paul sent me another grant opportunity, that's for generators. The issue, with both the school and I think with the senior center is that we need to have the estimates, prepared ahead of time. But
We have one.
yeah, you typically need two, at least two, sometimes
And
three.
they don't get back to us.
I know.
They don't get back to you.
I know. Anyway, that's.
Well, you know what, we'll apply pressure. That's all we can do. Apply pressure, see if we can get 2, possibly 3 estimates and get them together. Not sit here and say, they don't get back to us, let's try and go get them.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay?
So do we want to discuss?
Yeah,
Whatever.
if there isn't any other, since we're on public comments and concerns, if there isn't any more public comments and concerns, we can go, okay, we'll go to this. Members of the Poultney Selectboard and Paul Donaldson, Town Manager, Jonathan Andrews gave us a letter of intent to, he's interested on being on a development review board. All of you have read his intent letter.
Some of you, I think, were on the select board when you appointed him to the planning commission.
Mm-hmm.
But I think some of you were not.
I was, but I don't know if these two. I don't know if Val wasn't, I don't know if Mark was.
I know Mark works with him on the planning commission.
I think it'd be worthwhile for the town.
On the development review board.
Yeah. He listens well.
Hmm?
He listens well.
He listens well.
He talks a little bit too much.
Oh.
He listens.
Good ideas.
Okay,
To do it by votes?
yep. We'll do it by vote. Do I hear
Yes.
a motion to accept or appoint Jonathan Andrews to the Development Review Board? Do I hear a motion to appoint him?
Make a motion to appoint Jonathan to the review board.
Second.
In a second. Any comments or questions by the board? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried.
I'll let the clerk know, and so you have to come in and get sworn in.
Sure. Yeah, you gotta get sworn at.
We do have a number of DRB matters coming up.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to sign the board order? Comments or questions by the board? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. We need to go into executive session for 2 contractual issues.
Motion pursuant to 1 VSA section 313A1. Make a motion that this board finds that premature general public knowledge clearly place this board or person involved at substantial disadvantage in certain matters relating to contracts outside of executive session. Pursuant to 1 VSA section 313A1A, make a motion to enter executive session to discuss contract matters.
Do I hear a second? All in favor? We're in executive session, 7:14.